That's it.
Azul? Okay.
It doesn't have a gender.
Okay, well, hey guys. Welcome to the Bridge ATL. We are so happy that you are joining us today. And it's your girl, Keisha. And I also have with me, Kel. And I have Tyler. Yes, y'all. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. Another episode for the books. I have some devastating news for y'all. This is my last episode, but I will still be doing Keisha Said It. I know very confidently that y'all are going to help some people get to the bottom of their relationship drama, their just all the dramas that they have going on in life. Like, y'all are so amazing with it. The comments, y'all be so in it. Like, I love it every single time. I'm going to start responding to y'all, but the comments for Keisha Said It be going up. The views up. Like, everything is up. So stay tuned. There will be more Keisha Said It. It's just my last full episode, okay? So with that being said, I want to turn to y'all if y'all have any parting words for me, any congratulations, words of wisdom, anything like that before I get into Keisha Said It today.
All right, Andy. I'm kidding. It's been great. Did you just bump your head? You're okay? Okay. I'm going to put that in the edit for sure. No, it's been great having you on the show. I appreciate all the time you spent with us from starting at Kicking It Old School all the way up through the Bridge ATL. You know, you're going to always be a part of the show. And, you know, we hope that you going home to where you came from, right, is it's a fun move, you know. Hopefully you have a lot of success over there and whatnot. We're going to miss you.
I miss you guys already.
Yeah, unfortunately, DJ 9D wasn't able to make it today. He's been, you know, he just got married, y'all, so, you know what I'm saying, congratulate him.
Congratulations.
Without DJ 9D, none of this is possible. We would have never gotten even into this kind of space without him, so thankfully for him, we got to meet Keisha. And this podcast has been flourishing ever since. So, yeah, you know, she's going back to my old neck of the woods. Shout out to Callie and all y'all out there. You know what I mean? So, you know, I know you're going to be straight. I mean, it's Callie. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Georgia at all, but it's just a different vibe. And, you know, I understand.
Yeah.
I ain't popped out there in a minute, but when I get back out there, I already know what it is. So, yeah, man, turn up for everybody. We gonna see you soon, though. You know what I mean? We're going to be out there thugging.
Thank you guys so much. I honestly feel like you guys have been such a pivotal part of my experience here in Atlanta. I've been here and I feel like I said this off camera, but I'm going to say it on camera. I feel like I've learned so much more about men every episode because of y'all. And also the people in the comments, like, sometimes y'all be trying to be a little spicy, but I'm spicy too, so I bite back. But at the same time, like, I feel so grateful because I always am willing to learn and continue to grow. And if there's ever anything, I'm always like, I'll always pick up the phone for y'all. Like, y'all know that. I'm picking up the phone. I will never forget you guys. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm now going to switch gears into Keisha Said It. We're going to start with Keisha Said It this show just because I think it's appropriate. And then we're going to get into some other things, okay? All right, so, you guys, this one is from a male's perspective, and I'm curious to know what y'all think. Okay, so it says, my girlfriend and I have been dating for 8 years, and as of recent, she's been talking about marriage. The relationship had been great, and we've checked off a lot of life goals as a couple. We have a business that we started together, and it's doing really well, and we have a dog. We moved in together a year ago, and now all I hear is her hinting at marriage and that she does not want to play house anymore. I don't see the point in getting the government involved to prove that I love her. I've seen that relationships have changed once the paperwork is signed. I want to be with her long term and have children with her. I don't see me going through life with anyone else. How do I get her to understand that we don't need to get married legally?
Is there any other way to get married? I mean, they do the little, you stayed in the house with me for 2 years, so we're married. Is that what that is?
What is that called?
So what I think, right, there is a way, right? a marriage is really just you give somebody a ring, you say, hey, you're my wife, and she says, hey, you're my husband, and we're together, right? So I definitely think the concept of marriage minus the government does work. I just think that because society has taught us that marriage has to be tied with actually signing paperwork and making it official, and you're actually like putting a stake in the marriage, that it becomes more of a thing that people expect. Personally, I don't really see anything that crazy about this situation, which I guess is like the crazy take for this, right? Is that I get it, right? Being married is not about the government knowing that you guys want to be together. It's about you two deciding that you're going to be a husband and a wife and you're going to operate as a unit together. I mean, in the past, before the government was involved, it worked like that, right? In the past, like before the government was the reason why you got married, people would just say, hey, you're my wife. And they would give them a ring and they would get married. And there was no government extra stuff allowed, right? It's just at some point the government got involved and now everybody feels that it is necessary. Granted, that doesn't mean that I won't do it. I'll do it. I'll get married regularly with the government stuff. It's just, I can understand where he's coming from. Being married legally does come with a lot of extra stipulations. It's basically like saying, okay, I'm betting on this relationship that it'll last. Because if the relationship doesn't last, then the government gets involved. And with a divorce, you're legally obligated to do a bunch of stuff. And it's kind of like taking your relationship to the government level. It's just saying, let's have the government involved in our relationship and take it from just me and you are dating or me and you are together to me and you are together in the eyes of the law. And now if we decide to break up because of anything that may happen, not sickness or anything like that, but anything may happen, one of us has to be hurt. Of course, there's benefits, but I do, like I said, I don't know. I think, I see why he would be hesitant. I think marriage is a gesture more so than anything. And being opposed to just any kind of gesture would, for me, make me kind of question what your motive is in this situation.
Being opposed to a gesture of getting married?
Being opposed to like getting married without signing paperwork. So for me, I would look at it as, well, why is the paperwork so important to you? Because what is that? Like, why does that matter? If we're truly in love and I say, I want you to be my wife and I marry you without signing paperwork, does that mean we're not married? We go through the marriage. I give you my vows. I tell you how much I love you.
Well, and that's why I would ask, would you buy jewelry without authentication, without authenticity or some kind of certificate of authenticity, right? Because I mean, even though you could have bought it from somebody who is reliable, right? Like somebody you done bought jewelry from Buddy before. He gives you diamond chain. I don't have the certificate, but this is real. You know me, and you're gonna pay the same amount. You're gonna pay everything. Everything's gonna be the same. But at the end of the day, you don't have that there, and you can't prove it to anybody because if you sell it to somebody else, they'll be like, well, you ain't got the certificate, so it don't really count. I think with females specifically, dudes don't, let's be honest, we play with the idea of marriage, especially with the homies. Like, it's not a big deal that we're not married. It's just not. But with females, when it comes to a man, it's a big deal that they're with the man married or not. So, honestly, we talked about it before. That's a flex, right?
To be married?
To be married? Low key.
It should be.
For a female, I think
not just for a female, but for even a man.
It should be for a male, but it's not.
I don't understand why that would just be a woman flex.
But I feel like y'all definitely. Well, I keep saying y'all. I'm not trying to stop saying y'all because obviously generalizations and all that. But a lot of times, you might see I'm married. I got a man. I got a ring. You know what I'm saying? The ring is a big deal, like to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like what you're saying. The idea of having somebody there and just the loyalty in general should be enough. The marriage shouldn't matter. I agree.
So, you said you have a ring.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
It's not like people walk around with marriage certificates. It's not like people walking around with marriage. It doesn't matter what kind of ring. We're married. I'm married. Here's my ring. You don't walk around with your certificate of marriage like, hey, I'm married. Look at this. hey, I'm married. Look at that. Like nobody walks around with that. If somebody told you
in the corporate world, it actually is.
But if somebody told you they were married, you're going to automatically assume they went through the entire process.
Yeah.
You're not going to think, oh, let me see your certificate of authenticity.
No.
Let me see that you guys are actually.
But if you're going to tell me out your mouth you were married, I'm going to think, yeah, you definitely went through the process. If you didn't, you're a liar. Like, that's just being real.
But they are married.
How?
They exchanged vows. They did what they were supposed to do in the eyes.
In the eyes of who?
In the eyes of whoever they believe in. At that point.
I don't know about that.
I would like to offer just a little bit of perspective. Because your argument is that like the government doesn't have to get involved. First of all, whether you like it or not, the government is involved, whether you're single or whether you're married. Okay, so you're trying to create some type of false narrative that the government only gets involved if you're married and then all of a sudden you're divorced. Like that's not really true. Like the government is involved if you're single because they're taking out more taxes. They're involved if you are married and then they're going to give you some type of tax break, right? So the government is involved regardless. So I want to start with just kind of like, just understanding like that's not really a good reason to say, oh, let's not get married. So that's the first thing. If the government is going to be involved, most people understand that, yes, marriage is a business decision that is protecting your assets. That is the ability to be able to say, okay, like I know legally someone can sign for me. I understand that this person, I trust them. They have the understanding. I have the understanding that if there's someone who's going to show up for me, this will be the person. That is why it is, in my opinion, important to not just say, oh, we're going to shack up and do some little cute little, oh, here's your ring, and now you got your ring, and now you should be happy and move on. Like, that to me sounds very like, girl, leave. Like, like it sounds to me like he doesn't even understand the importance of exactly legally being able to create financial, generational, like, wealth, because now you're not fighting with the government because, oh, the government is like, well, I mean, yeah, you can sign a will, you can sign all type of estate paperwork and say like, okay, this person has my whatever. But like, usually they understand like when you're married, that person is going to take over your estate. They're going to take over your assets. So that's why I'm just like, sometimes people are just like wanting to get like caught up in the idea of like, oh, I don't want to sign this paperwork. I don't want the government's involved already. So it's up to you. Like, if you want to just say, like, I don't want the government involved, it's like, okay, you've already missed, the train's already gone because you've missed the fact that the government's already involved in the first place. So that's why I want to offer that. Like, but the second part to it, that's the logical part of it. There's the emotional part of it too. So like, as a woman, if you feel like, okay, like, it means a lot to me to know that my man will commit to me, sign paperwork. He's not afraid to sign a paperwork. Even if we sign a prenup, he's not afraid to sign paperwork. That's a completely different type of maybe relaxation that you may have as a woman. And I'm not even going to talk about divorce rates. It's more so the fact that as a woman, you're just like, okay, my man is at least, I'm a Black woman, like as like is committing to me and showing me like, okay, like, he wants to be with me. He believes in marriage. He believes in understanding what a lifelong partner is. He's willing to say, I don't care if the government is involved or going to get involved. He's going to commit to me. So that's why I'm like, it's so many more little moving pieces than to just say it's so black and white, like government involved or not. Like, it's just, it's not just. You would sign
a prenup?
Yeah, and I would if I'm trying to protect stuff, absolutely.
What if he's trying to protect stuff?
I am fine with that. See, y'all don't understand. Like, I have emotional and logical running through my veins. Like, I am very much like, I am a level-headed person. I have made emotional decisions that have led me to be in relationships that I think weren't serving me. But at the end of the day, like, if a guy that I'm with wants to sign a prenup and I'm like, okay, he's protecting his assets, I'm like, I get it. Like, that's fine. I'm protecting what I have built too. Like, I don't see a problem with that. Like, I don't see that at all.
See, with me, it's kind of crazy. 'Cause I'm kind of telling on myself, right? Like I would love for a prenup to be in a marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, I think it's
I
perfect.
don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But the thing is, in reality, and truthful, I have this conversation with the homies all the time when it comes to love and all that, and really being loyal, really being for your partner. A prenup doesn't. It kind of.
It doesn't mean I
It's
don't
kind
love
of
you.
false.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's like, why would I sign it? You know what I'm saying? In the case that I would break up with you, you know what I'm saying? Like I should go into it. I should go to it straight up. We're never. When you get married, we're
Absolutely.
never breaking up. No matter what happens, we're never breaking up. That's what a marriage should be. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a lifetime thing. It's supposed to be a soul partner kind of thing.
I agree.
We commercialize marriages to the point where it's okay to divorce, and it's never been shunned in America. Like it's never been a thing in America to shun somebody for being divorced. It's supposed to be common now, and I think that's the main problem. Like
That's a problem for
now,
a prenup.
that might be what Buddy's trying to avoid is the commonality of being divorced, and as though being married is okay. It's very important to talk to somebody and ask them, hey, do you want to be married? The red flag for all of that is someday. If your partner told you at the start when y'all got together, he was like, do you plan on being married? And that nigga's like, someday, it should be a yes. Yes, I want to get married. You know what I'm saying? That should always be out for nobody tells you. It should be yes. You know what I'm saying? Like if they say someday, that's some bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. Because you're supposed to go into it like you have to really think about marriage and really work towards it. It's not something that just happens upon you. I think that's the problem. People realize like that's not what marriage is. It's going through the ups and downs and being willing to do that kind of shit. You feel me? So it's really and honestly a very touchy subject. People don't look at it like that. They play with marriage. You know what I'm saying? They think it's like we dating or we just go together. No, bro. Like you really setting down everything that you've done in your life together with one person, and you want everybody in the world to know that that's your girl, that's your wife, that's your soulmate. And so that's the main thing. I say for me, I would want it because I know how this shit is nowadays. You can't trust everybody. Even though me personally, I might be very willing to go into it with somebody. But I do know that this world isn't as fruits and berries and shit. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no Disney shit. So I know if I get with somebody, you know what I'm saying? They might not have the same intentions, even though we got together, it felt like that. It doesn't matter about how you feel, it's the reality of the shit. We're in America. You might be playing with it, even though I might not be. So marriage is crazy out here. You go to Pakistan or some shit, you go to India or something, they holding it down all the way till the wheels fall off, no matter what. Buddy could be in a coma. Trust, he's gonna have his wife though, and she's gonna be there the whole time. Out here though? Nah, it's not happening.
I think it's so unfortunate because I think a lot of people or women or men even who are so willing to just end a relationship, married or not, they have the loudest voices right now. Like they are showing up on your news feeds, the people who are like, oh, like she didn't do this, so I ended it. Or he got sick, so I ended. Like it's like all of that is showing up on everyone's news feeds, and I think it's by design that's getting us to not trust one another. And so I think it's so unfortunate that that's what's popping up because people are starting to think like, oh, it's a man versus woman thing, like and I wanted to talk about it because one of the topics we're going to talk about in a little bit is like the idea of like man versus bear and then woman versus tree. I just feel like I just feel like a lot of it is, I feel like a lot of it is like some force that is trying to divide us. Whereas I think that people like us really genuinely want to develop genuine relationships that last forever. Not just on some like, oh, for the next 17 years. Like we want it to be like, oh, my best friend that I'm dating, like my life partner that I'm going to be with forever. Like that's what we're all speaking of, And so I think that that's ultimately like, we're coming from that space, that perspective. Mm-hmm. Whether we think like, oh, signing the paper or not signing the paper is necessary. We all want something that's going to last forever.
I mean, that's the goal. I think, that's what we want. But like America it's so hard in America, bro, because you just commercialize everything. We just make everything so it seems like it's simple and seems so, like I said, Disney and all that, but it's just not. The reality of everything is it's harder than what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So I would pray for marriage for most people. My parents have been married over 30 years. You know what I'm saying? They were married before I was even born. So, ups and downs, I done seen it all. They still thugging it out. I done seen progress through that and everything.
So what I want to say is, when it comes to prenups, planning for if the marriage doesn't work, I think that's just more of the logical response to the fact that nothing. You run the chance of nothing lasting forever. There's never a 100% chance that your relationship is going to work. Yeah. There's no such thing as a 100% chance on anything, really. Besides like certainties, like for instance, if you pass, you're done. Like, but then even then, there's people who've come back. So I think with relationships,
back to life.
Yeah, like people who are they think they're dead, but they're actually not. It's a crazy out there thing, right? But there's really no such thing as certainty, right? And I think that people who tend to get like prenups and try and come up with contingency plans for it is because you never know what will happen. You can't guarantee the actions of another person. You can't guarantee that if I get married, if I meet a woman and we decide to get married, I can't guarantee that she'll never think about cheating, act on cheating.
How long were you with the girl before you married?
It doesn't matter.
I think it do, though.
I don't think so. I could be with her for 10 years before we get married. She could still, after we get married, she could still have the thought of, this guy is available. This guy is giving me what you aren't giving me at this time and point. I might be slipping up. I might have a hard time at work. It might be a rough couple of months. I might be going through it. Putting through the blender, right? My life is just really hard. She's going to see that, and even if I communicate that to her, she's still going to see, well, he's not giving me the effort that he gave me 6 months ago. And I feel like he's seeing somebody else. Or there's doubts. The human mind doubts. So I think the concept of like prenups and just like, contingency plans in the case of something not working should be okay. Like I think, like how you said, you'd be okay with it, which is great, right? I think most people should be fine with that. You want your marriage to
be
work.
A standard, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. It's the same. It's kind of like a similar concept to like.
But it's understood why it isn't a standard though. Like you got,
No, I
don't get why it's not a standard because it's the same thing. And I'll relate this to another topic, is that like when a woman has a child, why paternity tests aren't like a standard. I think it's logical for people to want prenups and want to plan for contingencies in the case of something not working. I think you should have a backup plan regardless. No matter if you have the most solid relationship in the world, you should have a plan because in this day and age, people are so fickle that 1 minute they're into something and the next minute they're not.
So I'm going to just say this, and I want us to move on. But we live in such a legalistic society. This is not something that just developed in the last 10 years. Like, our society is very big on legal systems, understanding the law, understanding taxes, understanding how the legal system impacts the law. You know what I mean? Like all of those things, like how the legal system impacts taxes, excuse me. That's what I meant to say. But like literally it's all of the idea is that like at the end of the day, we are trying to find love in a legalistic society, no matter what. So there's a element of logic that does have to be in place on top of, in congruent with our emotions. So it's like literally you have to have understanding of both. That's just my thoughts. Okay.
No, easily.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about like this really interesting topic to me, which is the idea of either the man versus the bear or the woman versus the tree. So it's really kind of taken even the legalistic part out of our society, where it's human versus nature. And I don't think we've ever talked about that part, okay? Because we've never really gone into like the idea of like nature. Would you choose nature over society? Someone, that looks like you? So I'm curious to know, like, if there's an option, because apparently this is like going around, like, would you choose to tell your feelings to a woman or to a tree? And I'm curious to know, okay, you. Oh no,
I was gonna say, I just wanted to relate the topics real quick. Like the what was going around is that people were asking, all right, if a woman is in a forest, would she rather run into a man or a bear? And then men kind of came up with their counter to that topic, like as a man, would you rather tell your feelings to a tree or to a woman? Getting into the point of it, I understand. So before I even have like any answers or anything, a lot of women were saying bear, and I've seen a lot of like responses saying bear. And I can understand why that ideology exists. As far as men, a lot of men are saying tree. I can understand why that ideology exists. Truthfully, it comes down to, this is one of those things that's based on experience. A lot of people don't base it on experience, and I think they're just basing it on like anecdotal tales that they hear from it. Of course, as a guy, I do see the benefits, and I probably would lean more tree than woman, because just telling a woman your true feelings, like how you feel as a man, doesn't necessarily turn out the way you think it would, because I blame society for this. We have a role as men that we have to always stick to, regardless of how you feel about it, what you think of it. As a man, you have to be a man. Like, society didn't really have a space for us to be sensitive, to be emotionally intelligent, any of that. Like, that was always left to women. So as a man, you can't really be like sensitive about something like, oh, there's these things like that thing you said to me the other day. Yeah, you were just playing, or you were just trying to hurt me. It really hurt me, and it really affected me for a long term. Like, women don't typically receive that very well. Now, I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying in general, they don't receive that very well. They're going to think, oh, you're a man, you should be able to power through that. Like, that's how you should be. Society-wise, you should
what
be
kind
able
of
to
girls are
strengthen
y'all
it,
dating that are saying this? Like, I'm blown away. Like, y'all ain't date a woman for real. Like, ain't no woman gonna hear your emotional side and just say like, oh my God, get over it, suck it up. Like, a woman actually appreciates you coming to her with your vulnerability. Not that you're not going to say like, I want to get past it, but it's just like, if you are so stuck in it and you can't understand, a woman will help you, or she might try to help you navigate through that, or even at the very least say, babe, I think you need therapy. At the very least. But I'm curious to know, like, what is it that you are experiencing that has you thinking that a tree would be more receptive?
So ideally, what you said is what we would expect. However, from experience, when you are emotional as a man, when you're emotionally vulnerable with a woman, she might be empathetic to you in that moment. However, she's going to remember that. And that will come up in a situation where she wants to cut you or hurt you, because I don't know why.
Or it can come up in a situation where she can.
Exactly.
But that's not the reason why I would talk to a tree over a female. My thing is, in a relationship, like I said, he said roles, right? The role. We're supposed to take the load, you know what I'm saying? The heavy load when it comes to everything in terms of emotional, physical, whatever, right? That's how I feel. I am the last barrier. I'm the last barrier. I'm the last. I hold it down, you know what I'm saying? I can't give you my problems, you know what I'm saying? Your problems come to me. I'm supposed to help you solve them. But when it comes to mine, I need to go to somebody else. I can't go to you because my problems are yours, because your problems are mine, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't have you fix anything because I'm the fixer. In general, I just feel like because we hold the load, you can't give, you know, I can't give my partner the full emotional baggage. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like I'd rather talk to a homie, or I could talk to, or I talk to my mother, or I talk to my sister. You know what I'm saying? A family about anything heavy. And when it comes to that, because now you got to take my emotional load. You're not going to understand what I'm going through because you're not in my body. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, we can't understand what y'all going through. But we will sit there and attempt, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. But even though you want to try to help, you know what I mean, and I get it, you want to be very, you know, you just want to contribute. I can't trust you to do that. But not only that, I don't want you to ever have to do that. I don't want that to ever be in your mind for you to feel like you need to help me emotionally to do anything.
Okay, see, that's different because you said two things. One, if you don't feel like you want to have to put that on the woman, that's not our fight. That's your fight. Like, that's you saying, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to, you know, so, okay, sure. That's a whole
It's a lot, yeah.
conversation. But you said you'd rather go to your mother or your sister for a woman's perspective. So at the end of the day, it's not that you don't want to go to a woman. You're saying that you want
I don't want to go to a woman at all.
Okay, so I heard you say that you said you go.
If I go to a woman, it would be my mother or my sister. Yeah.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. It's like But so would you rather talk to dead ears or would you rather talk to your mom or your sister?
Dead ears.
So you rather talk to dead ears just to get it off?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't think I have any. I don't think I've ever had any in my 33 years of age. I don't think I've ever had any big I need to talk to somebody about something. Anyway, that's just me though. There's a lot of dudes out there got a lot going on, a lot of
and that's
demons.
fair. And I
So
guess
me personally, I can't jump in that and be like, yeah, I ain't never had somebody had to, bro, I need you to talk to me. I never had nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I've been through a lot, but it's like at the end of the day, I feel like I can fix that myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I do think that there is a balancing act of it too, like in terms of like a woman being able to have a male perspective, even if it's not her man or her boyfriend or husband, like whether that's her father or her brother. I feel like that there's value with learning how to approach or show up for the man in your life. And you may not necessarily feel like you need to talk to the man in your life, but there's a trusted man in your life that can help you navigate those conversations. So I think that's the difference. So it sounds to me like that's the same thing that you're saying. It's like being able to have a trusted female or woman, that can help you navigate those type of conversations, because then it won't be so scary to have a conversation with the woman in your life, right? Hopefully we can get to a space where we're able to have these conversations and we've been able to pick a partner who will love us through all those things and be there and support us through it, right? So that's the difference.
Also depends on the situation. Like, if it's something I know you went through as my girl, yeah, I'll definitely ask you, like, hey, you ever had surgery? Let's talk about it. I'm really scared of the surgery. Like, help me out. Cool. But if it's something I know you never went through, like, ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't never had nobody try to, oh, yeah, I got 3 dudes coming on the way with what's the name, like, in like 5 minutes right now. I can't tell you about that. I got to play. Yeah, exactly.
So
what is that? What are you talking about?
Also,
right, you know what I'm saying, like,
I do want to say, I also think,
why are they on their way?
Exactly. See, look.
I also think that it's important for a man to have confidence in a relationship. And any kind of like conflict you're feeling emotionally will show that you might not have confidence in a certain situation. And even though that shouldn't reflect negatively on you, because we're all human, it will. Unfortunately, like they'll see, I feel as if a lot of times a woman will see that as like a chink in your armor, proverbially, right? And she'll think, okay, well, he's weak in this situation. And of course, in an ideal world, I would like to think that a woman would say, okay, let me try and fix this up. Let me polish this part of your armor. Let me help you. Let me make you be a better person through this. But a lot of times that just ends up being something that's held back in an argument, right? Or something that's reminded of. In my experience, there's been instances where issues that I might be facing emotionally or something like a shortcoming I have mentally will be brought back up to show like, hey, you said this to me or whatever, like especially in an argument that probably is irrelevant, super irrelevant argument. It has nothing to do with whatever I told you in that moment of weakness. But because you wanted to have ammunition in order to bring that back up on me, you bring that up. You tell me, hey, well, that's why this happened to me. And I think it's crazy because we aren't capable of just being ourselves. Like we have to always be a certain kind of person. We always have to hold a certain image. We can't truly break ourselves down to the bare bones with any and everybody. And that's where it comes into the whole finding somebody who's perfect for you. You have to find that person who's going to be able to be receptive to that side of you. And I think just generally, because we're speaking generalizations, right? So generally, it's just not something that's acceptable. It's not acceptable for a man to be emotional. It's not acceptable for a man to feel unsure in a situation. It's just not acceptable. That's not a desired about trait, unfortunately. I wish things were to be vulnerable, to just be like broken down. Like you have to have some kind of exterior that shows that you're capable, because at the same time as you're trying to tell them, hey, I feel this way, you're also being judged. And it's like, can he protect me when I feel this way? Can he protect me in these kind of situations? Can he be solid enough? And like, if I told him, you know, this happened to me, would he break down and cry because it's such a similar situation to me? You know, realistically, I would love somebody who can like sympathize with that. Like if she's like, yeah, no, I really feel on the situation, we can cry together. Like, and it's not a bad crying together, it's a crying together because we've gotten to a new level of our relationship or our understanding. And I think that's a big part of what's missing today, especially in relationships, which is why I think that conversation just goes that way, right? And people are immediately just, yeah, I would rather talk to a tree than a woman because at least a tree won't throw my feelings or my emotions back in my face. This is crazy, but you know, it is what it is. But what I want to know is like for you, when it comes to the woman and the man and the bear, that situation, what are your thoughts on that?
To your point about like, you know, a guy being emotional in his super femininity, I think there's a difference between a man being in his super feminine so much so that he's afraid of it, though, where he's like, I'm going to cover it with masculinity. I think there's one thing with that compared to one thing where a man is not afraid of his femininity, that we all are governed by masculinity and femininity. I think that there's one thing when a man is not afraid of it and he's able to still live in his masculine and be feminine, but able to like say like, okay, I feel comfortable enough to bring this to the woman and let her know like, okay, like I'm kind of scared here, or like I don't know what to do here, like, you know, like I think that could be respected from a woman more than, oh, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm gonna be tough. I'm so tough, like blah, 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 blah. Like I think that's the difference. That's why I'm getting like, to me, I think that's where we're like we're in a society now where people are like, oh, guys are like, I'm real tough.
I think dudes, when they're using that as a tough, that's the wrong thing. It's not even about that. It's not even about being tough. It's more so like, it's like I said, like, can you take what I'm about to give you? You know what I'm saying? And can you truly help me? Do I, like, as I know you right now, do I really know that you can help me with this? That's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Because emotional intelligence is like,
yeah, emotional.
Are you emotionally intelligent enough to take what I'm about to give you and then give me advice on that particular thing?
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
and that's
right.
the woman that you want to be with.
Yeah, that's on. Yeah, that's
And
what
if
I'm
she's
saying.
not that, you drop her.
Right, pretty much.
Just like if a man is not going to show up and protect you, you drop him.
Yeah.
It's that simple to me.
So to your point though, as you just labeled it, it's being feminine, right? And I get you're not labeling it a hard feminine, but that is a common conception that will happen. And when as soon as this is kind of feminine, like he's acting like a woman right now, that's immediately when everything is disregarded.
So when you drop down into your femininity as a man and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so weak. I just don't know. Oh my God. Like, 'cause that's what it sounds like. That's what you're speaking about when it's just like, oh my God. Because even when you're the toxic masculinity shows us that, oh my God, I'm so unemotionally intelligent. That's what we're receiving and we're picking up. But to be vulnerable does not mean, oh my God, I'm so weak. I don't know. There is something that is so strong about being vulnerable. So that's what I'm saying. It's a difference. Are you approaching the situation with, baby, I don't know what to do. I feel so weak. I just want to crawl up in a ball. I want to curl up in a ball, cry, and you figure everything out. Like,
so,
and you figure everything out, and I don't want to talk to you. Like, I'm just over here, I'm mad, or now I'm going to be angry, and now I'm going to go off, and now I'm going to be, like, now you're dealing with someone who is a grown child.
That's true.
Just as some men deal with women who are grown children. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, at least doing some type of work even before you've gone into that relationship that allows you to say, like, baby, I don't get it. I don't have it all figured out. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to be vulnerable enough. And I want to know, like, can you help me with that? Because usually, you know, I can't even say this, but I know me, I could be emotionally intelligent to the point where I'm like, if someone gives me emotions, it doesn't make me turned off. Now, if you show up in your toxic masculinity and you are covering it as, I am a man and I know, and you are this, and now I'm a wall and you're talking to a tree and I can't receive it. Because now we're talking about something that is just so toxic. I don't even want it. No, this is not fertile ground for toxicity. I'm not doing that. So that's why I think the difference is, it's like being able to understand, like, you've done enough work so that when you do bring it up, one, you're not afraid of bringing it up, but two, you're like, okay, like, I'm bringing it up in a way where I'm like, I'm ready to receive. Or do you get? I don't know. I hope that makes sense because I want to talk about the man versus bear because I have.
No, I definitely want to hear
know.
what you have to say about that. And then just to your last point, I feel like even if a guy were to respond and I don't know what to do and it's just I'm hopeless and da 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 da. Technically, shouldn't that be okay if that's what we as men deal with on a regular?
No.
With...
There's a difference between.
But what if that's just their emotional response, right? What if that they're not emotionally capable of learning?
I ain't gonna lie, you can't even come at nobody like that. That's anybody.
And like a baby kind of
That's why
my emotion.
That's what I mean by like
Right.
we're supposed to be ones that.
But if a
do
woman
that.
did that to you, are you just immediately like, oh,
No, I'm gonna help. I'm gonna try to
it's
help.
like,
you.
okay.
You know
if she's like immediately like a baby, like if she's a baby
I ain't
in
gonna lie.
her
If you do
emotions.
shit like that, I probably ain't gonna get with you.
As a woman, what have you been with her? And then all of a sudden,
what did she go through to get like that though? That's the question. That's really the thing. Like, what's the background? Why are you acting like this? How did you get here? That's the main thing. Like, why are you acting like this? How you gonna just shut down? What are you shutting down about? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, if you're shutting down, if you're whining, what are you whining about? That's the first thing, right? You can whine. It just depends on what it is. You feel me? So I mean, it's all about the reaction. It's all about the reaction. It's all about the reason. I will tell my girl about something. Can she take it and can she give me advice? Those are two things, right?
Yeah.
It just
And
depends on what it is.
speak to you.
Yeah.
Speak to you. I think that's the difference. That's what I'm talking about. It's like someone who you are able to communicate to them and they're able to communicate to you. So you guys are both pouring into one another. Because even as women, for myself, like I feel accomplished when I can emotionally be poured into from a man and he's like, you know, like not coming at it like on some like,
oh, you tripping.
I'm crying. Like it's not even a cry. It's just like, babe, like I don't really know like how to navigate through these waters. Like I need your help. And so I've heard this from guys before, and this is what I've learned about myself and why I've been becoming more protective of myself is because I've heard them say like, oh, you're a healer. Like, oh, you're someone who shows up and you are willing to like help or be like a healing type of vessel. And so to me, I've learned like, okay, like some people don't appreciate that or know how to appreciate that. So it would leave me feeling drained. And that's why I've become very like, okay, I'm going to relax, you know? So that's why I think it's just at least being mindful of who you're with and being able to know, like, can I bring it to this person in a logical way, my emotions in a logical way? Can I bring my emotions to them? And then as a woman, can I bring my emotions to them and be like, I'm ready to receive a logical response? I think that those are all of like those little nuances that like we're learning.
Yeah. I mean, I think when it comes to relationships, and in these last 2 decades, we've had to really go into this relationship thing and really understand what we're supposed to do and navigate in a way that we've never had to navigate before. We never had to talk about emotional intelligence, I think, in relationships for real, until recently. I think certain roles were already established and we go into it just knowing what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. So,
okay, I want to talk about man versus bear. I have had some time to think about this, and I'm curious to know. I want y'all to poke holes if y'all can. So the reason why I think a lot of women are choosing the bear over the man, it's not because that's what they want. I think that most women naturally would love to see a man versus a bear in the woods or the forest, whatever. But in theory, as we understand how some men may have showed up in the world and has kind of knocked us off of our like path, we start to say like, okay, like the bear can kill me, which is maybe a quick death or whatever. But with some men, it may be a slow death. Like imagine this. Imagine imagine you're a Native American, okay? And you are in the woods or in the forest and you come across a man named Christopher Columbus. I promise you, if you know what you know now, you'd rather be in the woods with that bear than you would with Christopher Columbus, simply because of the fact that if you can overarching view say, dang, this man is going to give my community some type of diseases and like try to kill us off, like it will make you say, I'd rather see this bear because then I maybe be able to eat tonight rather than Christopher Columbus. So I think that that's how I equate women deciding
to choose a bear over a man. So I'm curious to know what y'all think.
I think that whole shit is over exaggerated.
It's definitely over exaggerated. Let's be very clear. I don't want you to think that it's not. It is.
Because a lot of niggas look at that shit like, oh my god, you picked the bear. Like you know why you picked the bear, bro. We you know, some niggas out there is just saying they ain't all the way there. You feel me? Now obviously when you hear it, you hear the question, whatever, you're gonna be like, oh well, obviously the dude. But think about it, you out there, like 3 a.m. in the woods. Why is a nigga in the woods? Why you in the woods, bro? I might pick the bear in some situations. Like, nigga, what the fuck is he doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he doing out here? Like, why am I out here? So it's unnatural. It's just some unnatural shit. You don't see a nigga in the woods at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? It's like some alien type shit. It's weird. It's just weirder than a bear gets out there. But obviously the question is made because people feel like women are more afraid of a regular male.
It's the threat
and
here.
The idea of, I can't come up and talk to a woman, which, by the way, you can. It's how you approach. About the approach is about the what you're going to do after the approach. A lot of niggas is kind of like, hey, mama, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just not how niggas don't. You shouldn't be doing shit like that anyway. It's all about how you present yourself. Let's be honest. A lot of us are very unapproachable in general. You know what I'm saying? We look like we're about to smack the shit out of somebody as soon as we see him. It's just understood. Nobody's ever told you, you know what I'm saying? Because you might smack the shit out of them, they tell you. So it's going to look like you can't come up to somebody. That's why females feel like if a nigga try to come at them in the woods, they'd rather pick the bear or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you made the point of a quick death over a slow one. That's all it is, right? Just a quick death over a slow one. It's not that serious, but you know.
Yeah, I can't argue against you. I think me and Kel had this conversation previously when the subject was like really hot on Twitter. I think I said that, and I understand where women are coming from when they say they picked the bear. I do understand because they're operating on the instance of what would a man do in a situation where he's not being watched, there's no law, there's nothing. How safe do you feel with just a random man showing up in the woods who can help you? You never know. It can go either way. It can be a good thing. He can save your life. Or he could kidnap you, put you in a dungeon, and do all kinds of crazy stuff to you throughout years. Right? We've seen it. It's been shown throughout history. So it's kind of hard to assume that people are going to be, good towards you. So I can't really argue against that argument. Like you said, Christopher Columbus showing up, you think he's good, and then boom, he did all this messed up stuff that basically led to the eradication of your entire race. Versus a bear that just eradicates you, and then at least your family's good, right?
Yeah.
So
just don't take that shit.
Don't take it to heart though.
You know so I think
it's a hypothetical.
I equate it to that. Like, if you're able to understand like the things that a man can do versus a bear can do. But I, of course, agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of people are taking it too seriously rather than understanding the message behind it, which is women are afraid of being, or they're tired of being tormented, abused emotionally, physically, and all of those things. Whereas it's like, just take that rather than thinking like, oh, she's gonna choose a bear. Like that means she don't want men. She's a what's the word when women don't, I can't think of the word right now. A feminazi, because like now you're saying like, oh, like she don't want a man, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you're missing the whole point. It's really that we're saying like, we don't want to be hurt or have our lives threatened and have our whole civilization as our womanhood to be like able to be threatened. That's it. That's what it is. That's what I'm saying. Just imagine you're a Native American and then take it, and then you're meeting Christopher Columbus in the woods. Would you rather Christopher Columbus or would you rather meet a bear? That's the answer. If you think about that and you know what you know about Christopher Columbus versus a bear, then you could say, okay, I get where the woman might be coming from. And that's that. Anyway, I want to know our closing thoughts because we have dragged this on. This has been a very insightful conversation. I have been very blessed to have these conversations with you guys because, like I said, again, I learned a little bit about men more and more. And I do not take it for granted because I think a lot of times some women they're not open ears to understanding like male perspective. So I appreciate y'all like so much. And I will take this with me everywhere I go. And I'm going to continue doing Keisha Done Said It, but like, I appreciate y'all so much.
And well,
I can't even-
that's what we try to do. I
even
mean, like I said, when we started this, the whole point is to bridge the gap. And you know what I'm saying, without you, we wouldn't have been able to do it for these 18 episodes so far.
This is the 18th
So
episode.
you set the standard for anybody else who tries to get at this table. You know what I'm saying? So if they can't meet your standards, they can't get on this table. So, that's the main thing about this. You know what I mean?
It's really like a Last Supper kind of setup. We just ain't got no supper.
No.
But either way, no. It was great having you on the show. Definitely didn't expect to be on the show myself.
Yeah.
But from watching behind the camera, you definitely brought great perspective. We appreciate everything you've done with us. Look forward to hearing more Keisha Done Said It. And we wish you well in all of your endeavors.
For sure.
I appreciate y'all so much. You can find me on Instagram, Keish Done Did It. Keishdonedidit. I think I'm gonna make a Keish Done Said It page. I don't know.
You
should
should.
I?
You should.
I'll make a
I think you
Keish Done
should.
Said It page.
For people to submit.
Because I want y'all to know, I am so big on like reality love shows. Like I
We gotta love
literally
this
have
blind fan over here.
so much commentary. So you know what? I'm gonna make a Keish Done Said It page that is going to be all about that. I'm curious to know what y'all have to think about stuff that I think. Because I feel like every time I say something about these shows, I'm always right. So I want to find out what y'all think, because I don't mind being wrong. I just think I'm always right. So I want to know what y'all think. Okay, but yes, I'm so happy, and like I said, I appreciate y'all so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Okay,
Y'all can follow the boy Kels, NUE.KELY on IG. You can follow the production, Nostalgia Universal Entertainment, at Nostalgia Uni ENT. You can find the Bridge ATL _ on Instagram as well as TikTok and YouTube.
We are Kel. Y'all know where to find us at. You can find me at new_Ty. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is also the Bridge ATL. And yeah, keep it locked here for more Bridge content. We definitely have more shows coming. Just because the lineup is changing doesn't mean anything. We will keep bringing Bridge ATL content to you guys. So stay locked right here. But with that being said, everybody take care.